The United States, working with local Syrian ground forces, now poised to begin the assault on the Islamic State stronghold of Raqqa. The White House today pressed on the decision to send some 400 of our Marines to Syria and the role General James Mattis is playing in that mission.
One of the things that the President has ensured is that the commanders have the flexibility to do what they need to fulfill the mission. The President is obviously, as Commander-in-Chief, made aware and signs off on all of those missions. But at the end of the day, it's going to be up to the generals to execute their mission to make sure that we continue to defeat ISIS and protect the nation.
And General Mattis, well, butting heads a bit with the Trump administration over his staff. Mattis wants the Pentagon's top civilian job to go to Ann Patterson. She's a one-time prominent supporter of the Muslim Brotherhood, a group that President Trump may designate a terrorist organization. Joining me now to assess these latest moves by the president to defeat the Islamic State and provocations by North Korea, certainly. Joining us is Fox News military analyst General Jack Keane. General, great to have you with us. Let's start first with North Korea. It looks to be insistent upon provoking the West, certainly the United States, with the nuclear tests. More ballistic missiles have been launched. Your judgment?
Yeah, we're pretty much on a collision course now with North Korea, as they continue to develop their nuclear arsenal, attempting to miniaturize some of those weapons so that they can put it on an intercontinental ballistic missile capable of reaching the United States. We cannot tolerate that, Lou, and that's going to result in us either having to do a cyber attack to defeat them and or a kinetic air and cruise missile strike to defeat these launch facilities. That'll be a preemptive strike as required. And I think we've got to communicate this very clearly to the Chinese, that you are leaving us with no option but a military option, as you're permitting your client state to move towards a threatening situation to the American people. And that's the course we're currently on.
The specific policy reiterated again by the Pentagon. The response of the United States will be, as they put it, overwhelming if North Korea were to attack South Korea or any of our allies in the region.
Yeah, most definitely. If we conducted the preemptory strike, the North Koreans would likely do one of two things. One, conduct a rocket and artillery attack on Seoul, which would be devastating given the millions of people that live there. Or two, actually conduct an all-out invasion. Both of those things, nobody wants that. The Chinese do not want that. Certainly the South Koreans don't want that. And the North Koreans do not want to get involved in a land war in Korea again, because they will be defeated. They will lose their regime. But I come back to the original premise here. We are on a collision course with the North Koreans, and the only people that are going to get them off that course is China. And we've got to impress on China that we're dead serious. Our previous presidents have never been able to impact China. I'm thinking that this president will impact China for the first time.
And, well, that's encouraging. China, however, as you point out, has not been a partner, no matter how much they have tried to project themselves as that, to administration after administration. North Korea, meanwhile, rising to the level of a nuclear state with missile systems that are capable of delivery at least to 600 miles, and the suspicion is much greater. So what will happen here with China? The engagement, if it came to a conflict with North Korea, would certainly involve China, would it not?
Yes. I mean, it would be devastating what would eventually take place with a war of that scale in high population centers, and something nobody certainly wants. And I believe this administration is going to take a road with China that our previous administration did not. China has been trampling on U.S. interests and our allies for the last 8 years. They've been expanding militarily, as we have noted on the show many times. I believe this administration is going to push back on China's military expansion in the South China Sea, and also develop a different, relationship with China, one where we're willing to engage with them, certainly economically, but we're also willing to confront them when they're trampling on our interests. And that's going to be different than what the Chinese are used to.
Very quickly, General, I want a question about personality, that of General James Mattis. He has come into conflict again, confrontation apparently with the White House on the issue of who will be the top civilian. As you know, Michel Flournoy, he wanted to be his defense deputy, rejected by the White House. Ann Patterson, now another prominent supporter of ousted Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi and the Muslim Brotherhood, the general putting her forward. And this is being met, it's a chilly reception on the part of the White House. It looks like, again, she will be rejected. What is going on between the general, the Muslim Brotherhood, and these names that he's advancing to be his top civilian deputy?
Well, I know Jim Mattis very well. Right. He's a good friend. And I think he's trying to do something in the Department of Defense that people have tried before, and that make it more bipartisan. But the reality is, having worked with 4 administrations, the one thing that they all have in common, Republican or Democrat, is they want their own political appointees in these positions in the Defense Department and in other cabinet levels to execute the agenda of the President of the United States. And believe me, they have a right to do that. And that's the reality here. And that's where we'll likely wind up. The President who will put people in the Department of Defense who will accomplish his agenda.
Absolutely. General Jack Keane, as always, great to see you. Thank you very much for your analysis, your insight. Thank you.
Good talking to you, Lou.